Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are going to draw Pigeon from Mo Willem's books about Pigeon. So, what you're going to do is you're going to figure out how you're going to draw it on your sketch first. Here's how to draw a shape of his basic self. If you want to do something more complicated, I can help you figure it out, or maybe you can figure it out on your own. So you can use either of those sheets to help you. I think I'm going to draw this pigeon here because I really like him. So I'm going to start off with the head. Now remember, this is my sketch, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And his eyes. His head always looks like that, 3 circles within each other. Then I'm going to do his beak. Add his neck on. His body is like an O shape. And if you mess up, you can always use an eraser. And then he has his 2 wings here. And his legs. Actually, I'm going to fix that one. And there is my pigeon drawn. So, once I have pigeon drawn, I'm going to draw him a second time on my final copy. So I'm going to take my final copy paper. Make sure you write your name and your class code on there. Remember, class code is your grade. So let's say I'm in 1st grade. I'm going to write first, and then the next letter is your teacher's name. So let's say I'm in Miss Hanbury's class. 1-H is my class code. So now I'm going to draw this a second time, taking my time more and doing an even neater job than what I did in my final. I think I'm going to move his head up a little higher and redraw this. Okay, once you have Pigeon drawn however you wanted to draw him, what you're going to do is you're going to take out some crayons and you can outline him in a black crayon. So now I'm going to draw it a second time, tracing over those lines that I already had on there. Try to stay on your lines as best as possible because we can't erase, because erasers and crayons don't work well together. Now I'm pressing hard when I'm tracing over this, but I'm not pressing so hard that I'm going to break my crayon. We don't want that to happen. Okay, I did miss my lines in some areas completely, so I'm going to erase those. But if it's peeking out behind the crayons, you better be very careful because it will smear or smudge that crayon and it might not create a look that you like. So I'm just very carefully using my eraser to get in those small spaces. If you don't want to erase, you could always take your crayon and make the line a little thicker, like I just did there. I'm going to do the same to the other side so they're even. Okay, so now my pigeon is completely finished being drawn, and we are going to paint him in. Try to keep it realistic colors. Realistic means colors that he really is. So he's blue, so I'm going to paint Pigeon blue. I'm going to open my new watercolor pack. If it has a little thing like this on, just pull it off and you can throw that in the garbage when you get a chance. And now I'm going to dip my paintbrush in this cup just to get it wet. I shouldn't be smushing it down on here. I'm going to wipe it off on the side so it's not too wet, and I'm going to rub it in my paint so I'm waking up that color. And then I'm going to get a little more watercolor in there and wake it up a little bit more. And now it should be woken up. And I'm going to paint in Pigeon. Now, you can paint by outlining in the space and then filling it in. If your paintbrush isn't spreading paint as much anymore, dip your paintbrush back in the water, get some paint on it, and then continue to paint in Pigeon. Try to stay in your lines that you just drew as best as possible. See there, I need more paint on my paintbrush, so I'm dipping it in the water, wiping it off, and getting more paint on there. Now, if you get pools of water, what you can do is you can spread them out. So here, I'm spreading out that extra paint that I had on there into my other areas to fill it in. I'm going to paint his whole body in, taking my time. If you get out of the lines a little like I just did there, that's okay. Okay, now I have Pigeon completely painted in. I'm going to take my water cup, swirl my brush in here several times, wipe off one side, flip it over and wipe off the other. So now my brush is clean and I can get a new color. You should not be mixing colors on the tray. If you do, you'll be using some other material besides paint, and paint's a lot of fun to use, so I hope you don't do that. So once again, paintbrush, swirl it around several times, wipe, and then wipe the other side. Now, I am done painting Pigeon. I'm going to paint the background, so the area behind Pigeon. You can paint it whatever color you want, however you want. It is up to you. Make sure you're cleaning your brush and doing a good job. I'm just going to do a bunch of different designs back behind him, maybe some dots and whatnot. It's up to you what you want to do though. Come up with your own ideas, have fun boys and girls, and be creative. Okay, I am done now. When you have your whole background painted behind Pigeon, it's up to you how you want to do it, but make sure most of the background is colored in. You're going to take your paint tray. It doesn't have to be as neat as mine, but it should be pretty neat that these colors aren't mixed together. And you're just going to shut it, return it to where it's supposed to go. You're going to put Pigeon on a mat and take him over to the drying rack. Have fun, ladies and gentlemen.